Today we're going to get a history in English with Blondie and her song that will just set you alight. It's one of the rarest live performances I came across with Blondie in her more mature years, sitting down in Spain on National RTV España, which is the national broadcasting company for television programs. And I'm very familiar with it because my partner is from Bilbao. And Night Wind Set was on a program and they were reminiscing about music, and they were doing a program that was very similar to England's Top of the Pops, where artists would come on, sing the song, I'd be number one in the charts, number three, that kind of thing, an audience clapping and dancing. And this kind of thing happened in Spain as well. And international artists would go over to Spain and promote their songs. When I heard this, I had to, everybody, put it on my channel and give you an education, because one of the things that I read in the comment was Chris was inspired by Emily Bronte's poem called Night Wind Set. And I will leave the decision to be made to yourselves, but I believe that it really was influenced by that. So I've done a special thumbnail of Blondie and Emily Bronte. I've also gone into the research of both songs. I'll give you right now an introduction to what Emily Bronte's version of Night Wind is about, but not until I've spoken about, obviously, our guest, which is Blondie, and what they have written about and what their meaning, taken from the inspiration of Emily Bronte, means. It says in my research, the Blondie song refers to a chilling, mysterious feeling, and it's a poetic metaphor for a message of strong emotions, particularly a feeling of awe and supernatural. It describes the moment, this song, where a person feels a profound sense of presence or a sudden intense emotional experience from somebody they're obsessed with or are chasing, as if it were sent to them. That's what it says. Now we'll go into the lyrics straight after, as always. Emily Bronte's meaning is this, and I'm going to just bring it up. It says, Emily Bronte's Night Wind Set, the poem, explores themes of human connection to nature and the transformative power of the wind. So the poem begins with a peaceful summer night, but the wind brings a sense of both beauty and unease, whispering of the darkness and mysteriousness of the woods. So therefore, that contrasts with the supernatural, the mysterious of the woods, that Blondie is singing about, and that particular feeling of awe and those strong emotions. And it's about chasing as if they're being sent to them. And the meaning of Emily's is about a sense of both beauty and ease. So you can see where Chris drew the inspiration from. But I thought, in honor of the particular person herself, I'll give you the actual poem, the Emily Bronte's. And thank you to, as always, Genius Lyrics. Great website if you're looking for lyrics for any artist, check them out. Now, Emily Bronte, The Night Wind, comes from a collaborative mix of all her works called The Poetry of Emily Bronte, done in, obviously, voice form, and it's out there in its various formats. And I would suggest, if you want something extra special for Christmas, educational, lethargic and relaxing, this could be it. This could really tick a big, because going back to poetry sometimes really, really helps us with everything. Let me begin with the Emily Bronte, The Night in the Wind, and I shall try and do her justice. In summer's mellow midnight, a cloudless moon shone through our open parlour window, and rose trees wet in dew. I sat in silent musing, the soft wind waved my hair. It told me heaven was glorious, and sleeping earth was fair. I needed not its breathing to bring such thoughts to me, but still it whispered lowly how dark the woods would be. The thick leaves in my murmur are rusting like a dream, and all their myriad voices instinct with spirits sing. I said, go, gentle whisper, thy wooing voice is kind, but do not think its music has power to reach my mind. Play with the scented flower, the young tree's supple bow, and leave my human feelings in their own course to flow. The wanderer would not heed me. Its kiss grew warmer still. O come, it sighed so sweetly, I'll win thee against thy will. Were we not friends from childhood? Have I not loved thee long? As long as thou, the solemn night, whose silence waits my song. And when thy heart is resting beneath the church aisle stone, I have time for mourning and thou for being alone. In these stanzas a louder gale has roused the sleeper on her pillow, it says here in the poetry, and the wakened soul struggles to blend with the storm which it swayed. So it finishes. Aye, there it is, wakes to the night. You can always feel Emily sitting on the bed saying this. Deep feelings I thought dead. Strong in the blast's quick gathering light, the heart's flame kindles red. Now I can tell by thine altered cheek, and by thine eyes full glaze, and by the words thou scarce dost speak, how wildly fancy plays. Yes, I could swear that glorious wind has swept the world aside, has dashed this memory from my mind like foam bells from the tide. And thou art a spirit pouring thy presence into all, the thunder of the tempest roaring, the whisper of its fall, a universal influence from thine own influence tree, a principle of life intense, lost to normality. Thus truly when that breast is cold, thy poisoned soul shall rise, the dungeon mingle with the mould, the captive with the skies. Nature's deep being thine shall hold, her spirit all thy spirit fold, her breasts absorb thy sighs. Mortal, though soon life's tale is told, who once lives never dies. And this is the song that the poem that Chris from Blondie, one of the members of the band and Blondie's partner for many years, and I still think is now. They've come back, and I still think they're very involved as a couple. And this is the song that inspired from Emily Bronte's Night Wind Set. Take a listen, and we'll come back, and I'll give you a summary of the poem I've just read in honor of Emily Bronte, and then I'll give you a quick version of Blondie's lyrical breakdown. Enjoy, everybody. that, everybody, was Blondie singing the particular song called, excuse me, The Night Wind. And as I said, I can see where the parallels come from, because from the meaning, you know, you've got the phrase, the night wind send. Blondie was singing about that, and it's a mysterious, chilly feeling that she set in the song when she was performing it there live. And congratulations to all those who had witnessed that particular song, because, oh, it needs to be coming back in her live performances. By the way, if you get tickets for Blondie, go and see her. But she's amazing. And I just feel it's a song that needs to be brought back to life, re-edited. Blondie, come out with another version of it. I don't know, pump it up. Do something even more special to it, but it needs to be re-released. It really does. And the metaphors in the lyrics itself, the night wind is an external force. It refers to that. And the triggers intense eternal responses. It represents mysterious, sudden, and powerful feelings that Blondie, well, Chris, who was writing the lyrics, probably experienced at some point and wanted to put pen to paper. Now, there is all about the supernatural and the spirit messenger within the lyrics. And it's about, you know, as if the wind itself is a messenger from the person. But we all know that as people, because I grew up with, you know, I'm an author as well of a couple of books, and one of the things I wrote about was the whistling of the leaves on the ground, and it was in a convent setting. I wrote, the book isn't about a convent, by the way, but there's a convent setting within my story, and the leaves are whirling, and the wind, and you could hear the rustle of the leaves, and it's the messages that the wind was sending. You know, there's that parallel. And I know it's been used as a metaphor. It's been used as a way of expressing a spiritual messenger, a spiritual message. So I've done it myself in writing. So I can understand Chris doing that in the lyrics. And for me, that's struck in the lyrics. And they are pursuing, you know, and it's about pursuing those carried messages, as the lyrics say, of sympathy and mysteries. Because remember what Blondies and Chris and the guy sat down and wrote. It's an intense emotional experience from someone they're obsessed with. That's what they're conveying. And that's all to do with mystery. When you're obsessed with somebody, it's mysterious because you don't know unless you're with them what it's going to be like. And maybe Chris was drawing on his experiences with Blondie. And then what it was like was, well, it was a rock and roll story. They had their ups, they had their downs, they took their drugs, they didn't, they came back. They released new music. They're getting rapturous adulation for every live concert that they do. The fans are still there. So they never lost anything, really. So, and that's a message that could be sent to them spiritually in some way. But it's all suggestion within the lyrics. And then there's that chill and presence. I got a chill in the night, Will. She sang, sent me a chill, says the lyrics. And for me, that's about a chill, about the night wind. It's about reinforcing the idea of a cold, an ethereal presence that people feel. I know even in this apartment that I'm in, honestly, I tell you, everybody, they say animals pick up on ethereal, spiritual experiences. And up above me in the plant, there's a picture of my former Yorkshire Terrier dog that I had, and he passed away, Marco. And I felt a big loss. And then I went to the rescue centre and I got another who's at my feet here. And then I felt he needed a brother. Marco was always on his own and feeling sad. This time around, I wanted two dogs, and I got another rescue. And the two of them are at my feet. But there's always a time of the night where me and my partner are watching them, and they are like this, looking around the room, and particularly the new addition to the family, Luca, is always growling. So it does happen. It can come in the form of the spiritual in the wind, or it can come through animals. And it's all about this symbol of obsession. Do you feel, oh, I'm so in love with this person, I so want them? Did you feel that, you know, you make them so real in your mind that when that person becomes real in the mind, some people believe their spirit is around them. I don't know about that, but the phrase symbolizes that way of, that intensity Chris has wrote about in the lyrics, and that all-consuming obsession that Blondie sings about with this other person who seems to be mysterious for us. We don't know who it is, who he's referring to really. I'm hesitant to guess it would have been Blondie herself, Debbie Harry, and sending her signals through the night wind. Do you know the way that when it's a night wind, it can be light a candle, sitting somewhere within your home, and you just wish something, that kind of thing. So that's what this side of it tells me. And then I'm going to give you what Emily has wrote about, and you can draw your own parallels, but I see them here. The Night Wind is a dose of the fascinating but tortuous and extremely simple and occasionally rugged poetry of, at a time, a young Emily Bronte, who felt a large dose of tonic or even gin and tonic, because she talks about I'm happiest is a very short, in which she talks about feelings of transcendence on a windy night when the moon is bright, and then we got Blondies, you know, feeling the presence in the woods, all of that. So they do cross over, and I can see how one can inspire the other. And then there's the pancentic feelings of dissolvement in nature she talks about in the poem, because when she forgets not only herself, but the existence of the earth, the sky, and becomes a wandering spirit through infinite immensity, she talks about. But Blondie talks about, you know, when it comes to that chill and that presence, it's the wind in the trees, it's the sound of the leaves. So that can be parallel, the two of them. And then when the night wind in Emily Bronte's poem starts to come to a climax, it's almost like it's a warm summer. You almost imagine rose trees, wet dew. Talks about the wind again, the parallels. It continues. Caressing lover tells the speaker, heaven was glorious and the sleeping earth was fair. Now, the wind keeps on playing the role of a seducer. And if you think of Blondie's song, you think of, you know, that ethereal feeling that song gives you when Blondie's singing it, because it's almost wishing the person you're obsessed with to come alive, and spirits be, you know, they're floating around. You can feel it, so you express it, but it's all paranoia and obsession. And here, Emily, in the poem that I read you, just talks about her, you know, that winning against her will for something she wants and desires to be real, whether it's from her childhood, as she talks about in the lyrics, or not. And when you're buried, she said, it perhaps an echoing sound, you will have enough time to be alone and I to mourn you, she talks. It's an intriguing poem coming from somebody who's been described by some biographical people who's done work on it as being perhaps the most autism spectrum, in which, as one person pointed out, Emily failed to fall silent after the last words of the wind, indicating perhaps that she agrees that death is the end of everything. And don't forget that in this particular song that I'm drawing parallel to, the Blondie song, you know, there's Chris's intense and all-consuming obsession with the other person, and that mysterious force sending them through the night wind. So, and that ethereal presence coming about that. So both have ethereal presences about them. And I just feel that deserved and warranted me explaining the connection between Blondie's song titled Night Wind and Emily Bronte's poem titled The Night Wind, and where Chris got his inspiration from within the band. I hope you enjoyed a bit of an English history lesson. If so, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. And I love Blondie. There'll be more of her and less of an English lesson, but at least I did something different in a reaction to a Blondie song. And if you agree, don't forget thumbs up, like, comment. Hey, and join my channel for more. Go to the playlist and you'll see lots of different playlists to keep you happy in different genres of music that I've reacted to. Is it? Yeah. Bye-bye.